today holds NEC meeting. Worries over internal wranglings of the party set our timetable for primaries and cost of funds.
Their solutions must follow slow but sure processes.
Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbalo in Abuja. Well, that's the picture that you saw earlier forms part of our conversation tonight. The worries about the internal workings of the APC, the fact that the National Working Committee says it wants to move the party forward, and all things that has to do with ego and the internal strife are to be put behind, as the party has now set a timetable for the presidential primary and set costs for the forms. Also tonight, we'll be speaking with leaders of conscience who have converged to the epicenter of Nigeria to lay out plans to rescue Nigeria. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. I'm Sean Kimbalo. Well, let's tell you that more presidential aspirants of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, are making consultations. Today, it was the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Udom Emmanuel. Governor Udom Emmanuel is the latest on the list of presidential aspirants asking the leadership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to support his presidential ambitions, saying he's a very sellable candidate for the party. Governor Udom will address the PDP National Working Committee at the party secretariat in Abuja today, says he has the solution to Nigeria's economic problems. Take a listen to him.
If I've done so much for the party, it's not too much for the party to stand by me to rescue Nigeria. You need a product that when you put in the market, even if people might not so much like the party, but they will like your product. And I'm that product side. Let people say whatever they want to say about PDP. They will like me, sir. So today, I'm standing as one of those that have solution to economic issues. The whole world have moved to just discussing cash every morning and night, reviewing term sheets that we do in Nigeria. The world had moved to creating money, creating wealth, and only very few of us can do that today. So the solution of Nigeria, first of all, is to try and rescue our economic values in this country.
Governor Udom Emmanuel is one of the 17 presidential aspirants who are in the race for the party's presidential ticket in 2023. Well, before we put our teeth to the matter of to chew tonight, let's tell you and check out some of your political roundup stories.
The People's Democratic Party presidential aspirant, Mr. Peter Obi, has taken his consultation to Enugu State, where he met with the deputy governor and some delegates. Mr. Obi, who is visiting Enugu for the first time since he made his intentions known, is assuring the people of his commitment to tackling insecurity, unemployment, and uniting every region of the country if given the chance. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, has formally declared to vie for the position of president in the 2023 election. He's running on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC, at St. Mary's Catholic Church Field, Alo, Idemili South Local Government Area of Anambra State, the venue of the declaration. The minister dances to the admiration of all. Dr. Ngige, while presenting his dreams and aspirations for Nigeria, notes that President Muhammadu Buhari has indeed done well for the country and for the Southeast.
I formally declare that I'm contesting for President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Also, the former Senate President Ken Nnamani has declared his intentions to run for the office of the president come 2023. Senator Nnamani believes he is the best person for the job, as he is willing to bring to the fore his experience as the former Senate President. A youth group within the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is asking young Nigerians who are voting age to actively participate in the forthcoming 2023 general elections. At a news conference in Abuja, the convener of the group, Mr. Aldu Mahmood, says protests and social media activism are not enough to stop what he described
He's on silent.
All right, then you have your political roundup stories. Let's begin our very first conversation tonight. The need for an alternative platform and a third force to the existing political options in the country is becoming increasingly of greater importance. And leaders of conscience believe the nation is not well run and needs a quick reformation. Nigerians are being urged to demand better quality leaders as more presidential hopefuls express their intention to run for the highest office in the land. The charge was given by political economist Professor Patutomi at a Big Ten conversation, part of the Rescue Nigeria project, which was held at the midpoint of Nigeria on the hills of Katampe in Abuja, 600 meters above the sea level. While insecurity, economic issues, governance, infrastructure, and power supply were identified as the major problems hindering the growth and development of the country, Professor Tomi is one of those who have called for an elite conversation or consensus and mental overhaul where Nigerians prioritize suitability over eligibility. Let's get talking about this. It's perhaps one thing that Nigerians need to come together to think about how we can take the nation forward, no matter who you are, wherever you may be even out of the country. But if you're a Nigerian, you have a part to play in all of this. Tonight, I have one of the conveners or co-conveners of the Big Tent and the Rescue Nigeria project, Pastor Utua Igodalo. Thank you so much, Pastor Igodalo. It's good to see you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
What is this idea of Big Tent? What is it about?
Well, we're thinking that at this stage and at this age of democracy and the age of Nigeria, Nigerians should be given options and should be made to think and be made to realize that things are possible. So the idea of the Big Tent is to say, okay, there are two dominant political parties, the PDP, the APC. It's possible for other people of good minds and good thought to gather together and offer themselves to Nigerians and give Nigerians a further option to decide on who they want to govern their country. And the Big Tent is saying that there must be strict criteria for people who are going to lead Nigeria. There must be people of vision, people of competence, people of honesty, people of passion, people who have compassion for the people, people who are offering themselves to serve, and definitely it's not a do-or-die affair. And Nigerians can then decide whether they wish to go after just anyone who offers them money, or they wish to try some people who they think will do their best to turn this country around. Nigeria is a great country. Nigeria is a blessed country. Nigeria is a country of intense resource. What Nigeria has not really had sufficient of is the right kind of compassionate, visionary, and servant leadership that it needs.
So you went to what is regarded as the midpoint of Nigeria, the center point of the nation, the heart of the nation. What brought about that idea, and what is the significance?
It's very, very significant. You know, in the Bible, when there was a problem in Jericho, and the people didn't know what to do, they went to Elisha the prophet, and Elisha said, bring me a new cruse, bring me some salt, and bring me a new cruse. And he went to the center of the problem, the heart of the river within that environment, okay, and he put in the salt, and he spoke a word and says there's salt and this healing is for the healing of the land. So Nigeria has been pulled together into a center. We need to go to that center, speak to that center, and say this land will be healed and this land will grow and develop, and speak to the four corners of Nigeria and ask that the Almighty come forward and do what he needs to do, you know. So when you do have a problem, you have to go to the center of the problem, the source of the problem, the foundation of the problem, and do something that the heavens will hear and the earth will respond to. And that was part of the reason to convene this meeting at this place, which is considered to be the center and the heart of Nigeria. It means that the people are serious, the people mean business, and the people are sacrificial, and they want to really contribute to Nigeria.
Did you speak to the center of Nigeria today, and what did you say?
I spoke to the center of Nigeria, and I said, Nigeria will yield. Nigeria will bring forth good. Nigeria will be blessed. Nigeria is blessed, and Nigeria will be great again. I do believe that Nigeria was great in the days before the colonialists came, and part of our problem is the colonial intervention that put together a structure that they knew would not work. So I said that greatness that made Nigeria a safe haven, in Nigeria a congenial place, that greatness that God prepared for this country, even from the foundations of the earth, must bring forth again. And we're speaking to all well-meaning Nigerians. There's more than enough in Nigeria for everyone. We can all come together, we can all unite, we can all work together towards baking a bigger pie, towards production. We must stop this prodigal mentality of dividing and sharing. We must come together, work together, break a bigger pie that everyone can be part of. And that's what we're speaking into the life of Nigeria.
All right. We'll go into details because in reality, what you're saying is you want to determine who becomes Nigeria's leader in 2023. And if that is the case, if I'm right, if I'm speaking your mind, then there is a process to it. I mean, according to the guidelines and the laws of the land. But before we get into that, what have you, leaders of conscience, identified as a major the source of our problem in this country?
Well, as I said, the foundational source of our problem is the foundation that the colonial masters laid before they left. But having said that, 60 years after, we shouldn't be going back there. Okay, they sent.
And what exactly are those? What did they do exactly that has become that's been so notorious that stay with us even over 60 years?
The typical one was divide and rule. You know, when people are not united and cannot think together and cannot come have a common ethos and a common direction, and they are suspicious of one another, and they've been told doctrinally or brainwashed that this man doesn't like you, this man doesn't want you, this man is against you, this man is this. If you don't hold on to power here, you won't succeed here. And if they come here, block them there. Different conversations on the different parts of Nigeria. So the spirit of suspicion, instead of brotherhood and cooperation, which should have been the basis on which we should have gone forward. So what I'm saying to Nigerians now, let us unite and come together and face a common enemy. The common enemy is hunger. The common enemy is poverty. The common enemy is lack of education. The common enemy is lack of exposure. The common enemy is lack of development. The common enemy is lack of food sustainability. Why are we fighting one another, trying to divide what we think we have, when we can come together and build many more all over the place? So your father left you 50 hectares and a house on that hectare, and there are 20 brothers or 3 brothers, and the brothers are fighting themselves over the rooms in the house, and they forget that there's a whole 50 hectares that together, if they put in their pocket monies, they can develop the entire 50 hectares, and each brother can have a huge house on the different hectares of land. This is what we're trying to tell Nigerians. Let's come together, work together from wherever you are, and face a common direction. What is the nation of Nigeria? What is the Nigerian dream? What are the possibilities for the Nigeria in Zamfara and the Nigeria in Sokoto, the Nigeria in Katsina, the Nigeria in Bayelsa, the Nigeria in Benin, the Nigeria in Delta, the Nigeria in Abeokuta, in Ijebu, in Ibadan? What can they both work towards and aspire to? I went to a school called King's College. It was a pet puree of Nigerians. We didn't know where anybody came from. We all worked hard, we played cricket together, played soccer together, we cheered our lions together, and everybody did whatever they could, and we built a great school. We didn't care where you came from. What was important was what was in your mind and the capabilities and what you could do. And this is what we're asking Nigerians. What can you do to bake a bigger pie? Let's stop fighting one another. Let's work together to bake a bigger pie.
Great. So how do we then go about it? Have you formed a political party just yet? Is the Big Tent a political party? Is it dovetailing into a political party? Or how are you going about this agenda? You seem to have some very good intentions for this country. But how are you going about it?
The first is to think. The next is to see. And the third is to pull together. So we're trying to work with as many political parties as possible, okay, that will want to come together into some kind of coalition. That's why it's called a big tent. Okay, let's pool our resources together. Let's take the best of what we have, and everybody's invited. Even the so-called dominant parties, if they're interested and they have the best of their own, let's come together. It's like almost a national movement, we're trying to say. Let's bring the best of everyone, come together and walk in a certain direction. So for as many as are interested and are as willing and ready to play as a team, as a collegiate, as working together, as against individual. No one individual can win an election in Nigeria. It's not possible. And people need to understand that. People need to know that they need to come together and work together and see how we can make progress together and bring the best of the lot, and not just anyone who has money or who just feels that he should be. No, we can't continue like that. You know, whenever you want to choose a managing director for an organization, there is a process, there is a criteria, there's a certain look and feel of the kind of person that you want, and there's a committee that sits down to assess that this man can do it. And then before they give him the job, they say, this is what we want you to achieve. Nigerians are not calling their leaders to question. One of our political leaders said, we are getting away with what we are doing because nobody is calling us to order. Nobody is throwing stones at us or anything like that. And that's what Nigerians are not doing. And part of why they're not doing it is the illiteracy that has been weaponized. When people don't know their rights and they cannot ask questions, they tend not to do this. So these are the things we need to address and speak to.
Is the Big Ten considering zoning? Because we talked about our problems. And part of our problems is that a lot of people feel marginalized. So it's a big tent thinking about how some people will be drawn into the arena by being satisfied with power sharing.
Absolutely. That must be part of the conversation in Nigeria. You have 10 children. You must see how you can get the best of each of the 10 children and make sure that you can provide for each of the 10 children and make sure that each child has a voice to express themselves.
So what is the Big Tent thinking about? Where do you think power should go?
At this point in time, we have not addressed that as an issue. When we come together, we sit together under one house, then let everybody say their opinion and then we can decide.
Do you think time is on your side? Because, I mean, INEC has laid out the timetable. April is almost over. It's supposed to be between April and the early days of June.
Of June.
Yeah, so you pretty much have about 30-something days to go.
Yeah, I think we're having precise timing. There's conversations going on. This is not the beginning of the Big Tent. It's been going on for the past few months, conversations everywhere. And I think this is the time to begin to pull it together. If you are trying to do it before now, it might have been a bit preemptive.
So are you probably, do you have a pot where you're picking from the kind of leaders or the options that you have? Who are those that are in that pot? The options that you have for the president, for example?
I'm not at liberty to mention names right now, okay? But there is a criteria. There are people who fit into that criteria. There are people who are being consulted that fit into the criteria. And there are people who think they fit into the criteria that have offered themselves up. Everybody's coming into that basket. And then the people in the basket will sit around and then say, yeah, you think you are capable? Let us hear what you have to say. You think you are capable? Let us hear what you have to say. But the rules are laid down before. Everybody will be given a chance to speak and express themselves. Okay, and after they have spoken, then everybody will be given a chance to also express him or herself. We're hoping that if we have the right kind of people with the right kind of mentality, it will work. If we don't have the right kind of people with the right kind of mentality, then it might not work. But we will try.
You see that people are making consultations around the country.
Yeah, right now, as
consulting those whom they refer in quotes, the owners of Nigeria.
Yes.
Is a Big Ten consulting the owners of Nigeria in court?
Definitely, because they have a say also. They have a say, they have an opinion. And why you call them the owners of Nigeria is simply because they are influential. That's why they are called the owners of Nigeria. Some are intellectually influential. Some are influential in terms of favors they've done people over the years. Some are influential in terms of people they control. And some are influential in terms of the money they have. And some are influential in terms of the opinions from their mouths. So they are influential, and you cannot work on Nigeria without taking them into consideration. But we'll also take the Almajiri into consideration. We'll take the beggar on the streets into consideration. We'll take the shoemaker in Lagos into consideration because he also has an opinion.
So in the end, the thinking is you already seem to have a checklist of the kind of characteristics of the leader that in the eyes of the Big Ten fit into the person that can lead Nigeria going forward from 2023. Share with us a few of these of your checklist.
There was a man in Singapore called Lee Kuan Yew who grew up a poor man, found himself in Oxford, and then came back and led Lee Kuan Yew from third world to first world in all of 25, 30 years. What do you need in a good leader? Number one, vision. The leader must have an idea where he's going and where he's taking the people, clearly. Number two, he must have the capacity to work hard. Number three, he must be exposed and knowledgeable. You are not going to have somebody leading Nigeria who doesn't understand the DYDX of economics, doesn't understand something about power, doesn't understand something about the value of education. He doesn't need to know everything, but he needs to know enough to know how to take a good decision on what people have suggested to him. Number four, he has to be compassionate. He has to care about the big and the small, the little and the large. Number five, he has to be honest and sincere. And he's not likely to be a money bag, because if you've lived in Nigeria and worked in Nigeria and you've been honest and sincere, it's unlikely you'll be a great, great big money bag, okay? So you have to be honest and sincere. It means, of course, that you must have no corruption charges or accusations of corruption, or you have unexplainable wealth, okay? There's nothing wrong with being very wealthy, but you must be able to explain your wealth. Number six, you must have a second address. It's not do or die. You must be somebody who is ready to contribute and add value to what Nigeria is talking about. Number seven, you must be largely acceptable to the generality of Nigerians. So you must have friends in most parts of Nigeria. They must know you, must know them, and they must look at you and know that there's no skeletons or huge skeletons in your cupboard, and you are largely acceptable. Number eight, you must be totally detribalized. Okay, you're not going there because you want to serve the interest of a certain area, section, religion, or tribe. You are going in there because you want Nigeria to be great, and you want everybody from the pastor to the babalawo to the imam to prosper in Nigeria and find their own fit, okay, in Nigeria. And number 10, you must be able to attract people to Nigeria. We need a lot of foreigners, foreign direct investment, people to bring in money. Because what you need in Nigeria is investments, technology, and hard work, because the fundamentals are there. The coffee is still there, the cocoa is still there, the soya bean is still there, the tin is still there, the coal is still there, the gas is being wasted every day, the oil is still there, the palm oil is still there, the palm kernel is still there. What has happened over the last 40 years is that nobody has paid them any attention. And what we need is to pay them attention and have the right kind of laws. You know, this issue of restructuring is really having the laws that will ensure that every resource of Nigeria can come out of Nigeria. That's all we want.
So, restructuring is one thing that the Big Ten thinks is important.
To some extent, okay? Because you need to have the right kind of laws. You see, what is the challenge with Nigerians right now is that the laws that we have has made a lot of things under the control of the federal government. And the federal government does not have the capacity or the ability to invest in all those things. So you must decentralize some of those things, allow people who are interested to participate, and allow foreigners to come in and participate also. You know, if Volkswagen, for example, or Mercedes-Benz builds its West African plant in Kaduna or in Sokoto or in Zamfara, You know, what is guaranteed is that they will bring some development to that place. What is guaranteed is that they will employ at least 2,000 or 3,000 people from that area. What is guaranteed is that they will transfer knowledge and technology. What is guaranteed is that they will take some of their raw materials from there. What is guaranteed is that some local industry will spring up around there that will supply them. What is guaranteed is that people will come from everywhere to buy. What is guaranteed is that they will export and earn foreign exchange for us. So if they own 30-40% of the company, so what? Okay, we will own 60% of that company, and our people will be employed, and our people will go to Germany, all over the place, to learn. So that is what we want. We want all the companies, that's what Singapore did, to come into Nigeria and create a safe environment for them to bring their money and invest. And we reach terms with them.
Why should we open up the economy?
Open up the economy.
That's the concept.
First of all, Nigeria should not import food of any sort. We eat what we grow what we eat. That's rule number one.
So you shut the border against what we don't produce?
Well, we shut the border against what we don't grow.
You eat what you produce?
You eat what you grow what you eat. So if you want to eat apples, go and come and grow apples in Jos. They grow apples in Jos. So grow as much apples as you want in Jos and we eat them. Okay? If you cannot grow them, then we're not importing apples. If you cannot grow rice, then we're not eating rice. We'll eat yam and cassava and potatoes and things like that. So we eat what we grow what we eat. The farmers have work, the people have something to eat, and we save a significant amount of foreign currency.
It does look like a very lovely ideas that you have. And I've had conversations with several Nigerians over the last few years about their ideas for Nigeria. It does look like everybody has some great ideas, but when it comes to implementation, that is where the big dilemma is. What do you think is usually the problem at the very point of executing the great ideas that Nigerians always have? Because it does look like, let's say, there are Nigerian problems at the point of execution.
The first is sincerity. A lot of people have these ideas, but they're not sincere. The second is the structure, especially of the civil service and of vested interests. You know, you have to deal with the vested interest. So you have a good idea, okay? So for example, don't import wheat anymore. There are people making a lot of money from importing wheat. Don't import petrol anymore. Why should Nigeria import petrol? There are lots of people importing petrol. So dealing with those people who are making so much money from this chaos is one of Nigeria's biggest problems, and that is festered on corruption. But you need to bring them together and give them an alternative. We're not importing petrol anymore. You people go and start refineries. Don't do petrol. Go and start refineries. Go and do something. We're not taking your food or whatever. We're telling you to think a different way.
So there is a problem of sabotage in execution of ideas. Not like Nigerians are lacking of ideas to get this country out of the doldrums, but there's always at some point sabotage because of selfish interests.
That is what is Nigeria's biggest problem.
So the big 10 things, you have the candidate or the person that tick all the boxes that can make all of these happen.
The first is the political will. You know, at the end of the day, why these things don't work is that the person at the top somehow lacks the political will. It took Obasanjo a lot of energy to make GSM come into Nigeria. It was a big fight because some people were making money from old Nitel and things like that, fought against it. It took him a lot of fight to try and make power work. Different kinds of vested interests were fighting against it. So what you need is, first of all, somebody that has the will and the tenacity and the determination to do this. And it's not a big thing. You can bring everybody on board and say, you know what, we will all make more money. Okay, like the telecom industry is doing now. We will all make more money if you stop holding us by the jugular. Besides, all this money you are making, what are you doing with it?
On a final note, let me ask you, have you decided whether it's the North or the South that the Big Tent is considering?
I would not be able to answer that question at this point in time.
You've made up your mind, but you are not making it public.
I think you want to put me in a box.
No, I'm just asking the question.
What I said is that we're going to come together and discuss and see what is most expedient for Nigeria at this time.
How is the Big Tent going to get its funding?
God will provide.
All right.
He always provides. But there are people, there are also well-meaning Nigerians who are waiting to see what they can support. And you are one of them. And we don't need, if we spend the money right, we don't need a lot of money. A lot of political money doesn't get to where it's supposed to get to. So, for example, you big a political big with 1 million naira, you can be sure that 50% of it is going into his pocket for him to spend as he wants, and 50% of that 50% is probably going abroad to fuel some economy abroad. So it's only about 50 or 20% that goes down to do the work. So a lot of political spending is also highly wasted because people just see it as their own opportunity to grab. But if you have some sincere spending, okay, and you go down to the roots and people are sincere and use the money, 1 naira can do what 10 naira is doing.
Pastor Utua Egodal, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. I believe that this nation will get it right by we getting the right persons. Thank you so much for the thoughts you have shared. We're hoping that Dr. Usman Bugajo will join us at some point on the program. But thank you so much, Pastor Utua Egodal, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take a break, everyone, and when we return, our attention will be on the APC. Felix Moka, APC National Publicity Secretary, will be joining me on the program. The APC NEC meeting and some of the issues raised get our attention. The tough choice for the ruling party ahead of the 2023 election. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome back to the program. Our attention is now on the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, which held its national convention to the National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja today with President Muhammadu Buhari in attendance. The party today has decided it will hold its presidential primaries between the 30th of May and 1st of June 2022 and has also fixed the cost for nomination of forms as well as ceding powers of the NEC to the NWC for 90 days. But there are fears about the happenings in the party. I'll allow you to listen to the chairman, first the President Muhammadu Buhari and then the national chairman, Abdullahi Adamu.
I call on all party members to abide by all extant laws, rules, and regulations, and to leaders of our party to avoid imposition of candidates that cannot win popular elections. 3, we'll defend more on our capacity to respect our own extant rules and regulations. Once again, the principal challenge before you is the need to forge a united front for the party. This dictatorial behavior cost us many strategic seats in the past. In the recent past, this led to some of our strong members, unfortunately, opting to go elsewhere because of unfairly oppressive behavior of party leaders at state level.
Human problems and challenges are not solved with a magic wand. Their solutions must follow slow but sure processes. Well, as the saying goes, all is fair in war. The facts are there, but when political parties choose to fight dirty and throw mud in every direction, they do not care for facts because lies are easy to be invented and are by their nature sweet. As members of the APC, we have a duty to defend the sterling records of this administration. We should not shy away from this. Politics is a competitive game by its nature. It can be rough. Let the others play it rough, but we will play it as statesmen and women. We must continue to match their lies with truth and verifiable facts about this administration.
All right, then, you heard President Muhammadu Buhari and the Senator Abdullah Adamu, the national chairman of the APC. A lot of things came out of that meeting. Don't forget, at the opening session, there was a closed door session. Then the media was later invited when the open speeches were made and all of that. Out of all of this, let me give you an understanding of some of the conclusions that were made at that meeting. First and foremost, the biggest one that a lot of people were talking about is the primary. The date has been set. But above all, is the cost of the nomination form and the expression of interest form that is being talked about for several times now. So let's take a look at how the cost of nomination and expression of interest from first and foremost. Let's take a look at that one. For the presidential position, 100 million naira is for the cost of nomination and expression of interest form. For governorship, it is 50 million naira. For senatorial seat, 20 million naira. House of Reps is 10 million naira. And the State House of Assembly, 2 million naira. There's a 50% discount for candidates less than 40 years and free tickets for women and persons living with disabilities. Now, there's a timetable that has been set for the presidential primary, which is the commencement of sale of forms is April the 23rd, 2022, and the primary will hold between 30th and June the 1st, 2022. Well, these are some of the decisions that were reached after the NEC meeting. First and foremost is that they fixed a date for the presidential primary. They decided the cost of nomination and expression of interest form, adopted mode of election, cut cost of forms for under 40s and the people living with disability, and decision-making power of NEC transferred to the Adamu-led NWC for a period of 90 days. Let's get more insight into the outcome of that NEC meeting. I'm being joined by the National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Mr. Felix Moka. It's his first time of appearing on the program. If there were opportunity to ring a bell for you, this is your first outing right here on the nation's #1 political program. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you, Shem.
Right. First and foremost, let's get this out of the way. There are a lot of confusions out there about the mode of primary. What did you agree on today?
We didn't make a decision about that. I've read a few reports that suggested that a particular mode of primaries was decided today. That's not the case. But in the coming days, the NWC, especially given its new authority with the powers you referred to that were ceded by the NEC to it, we'll be grappling with that question and we'll make that decision in the coming days.
Why was it difficult? I guess it's one of the things that you discussed at the closed-door meeting. I understand that the president wanted consensus. Is that the case?
There was no discussion of the mode of elections.
Did the president say that he wanted consensus?
The president simply was laying out, some broad principles that should govern the process. Issues of fairness, of inclusion, of just letting people who mean well and who mean business to be afforded the fullest of opportunity to vie for the various offices. But I don't think the president did specify, and the president, wouldn't do that because we have
in his body language, it does look like he's favored a certain mode of primary in the party. Well, in the first place, he was one who muted the idea of consensus. He was never part of our laws. He muted it in the National Assembly, now inserted it and adopted it. So, there are a lot of talks after the meeting for some of those who were part of the closed-door meeting say the president looked like he wanted a consensus.
At this stage,
does his body language read so much?
At this stage, we prefer, express discussions and decisions made, not, trying to make meaning of anyone's body language. But I can confirm to you that the issue of the mode of primaries was not on the agenda. There are two issues that were placed before the NEC today. The first was the motion to, devolve some of NEC's authority to the NWC for a period of 90 days. And the other was the schedule of activities. So there was no conversation.
Let's take it one after the other. Yes. The first one being the ceding of the NEC's powers. And the power of the NEC is almost absolute in every sense of it, because NEC has a power to ratify, to remove, disciplinary actions and a lot of that. Why did the NWC covet the power of NEC?
No, the NWC did not covet the power of NEC.
Or why did you want it?
NEC decided at today's meeting to cede those powers to the NWC. They're very specific powers.
Why? Why?
Because we're now in that period of engagement with our primaries, where decisions will have to be made rapidly. NEC of any party is not something you convene every day or even every week. In our constitution, there are periods of notice that are required to get NEC together. You don't just call a NEC meeting. So during this very high wire period, NEC thought that it was expedient to grant some of those powers to NWC to enable it function optimally in the conduct of our primaries.
What part of your law, I mean, your constitution, APC constitution, did you follow in ceding the power of NEC to the NWC?
We have provisions in the constitution
Expressly
that permit
or implied.
NEC is a body.
Yeah.
And every organ of the party has authority to exercise its powers under the constitution, and actually has the authority, like with many organs of agencies and entities, to delegate those powers. That's a normal legal construct, that individual or body that has authority to exercise power has delegative power as well. So NEC merely exercised the authority to delegate some of these functions to the NWC in order for the NWC to be enabled to conduct the business of primaries that is with us now.
So the motion was moved by the Senate President. Is it? Am I right? And it was seconded by the Speaker of the House.
That is correct.
And because a lot of people are already raising eyebrow as to why the NWC or the NEC will make that decision, knowing full well that there will be issues raised along the line, and the highest body aside the convention is the NEC that people could run to and consult when these problems come up.
No, but there's nothing unusual here. You're right.
People are already suspicious of the action of ceding the power to the NWC.
No, this is not the first time. The immediate past Critical Committee also had a similar, if you will, devolution of power of NEC to them. So up until the time that the Critical Committee ended its term,
but the climate
and the assumption,
the climate was different. There is a major election is coming. The primaries of elections are coming. So people are suspicious. The reason why this is
there's
happening.
no reason to be suspicious. I mean, this is...
No, it's not for me. It's for your members who are already suspicious of the action of the NEC today.
No, I'm addressing our members and anyone else who may have any reason to be suspicious. I'm saying that there's no legitimate reason for anyone to be suspicious. What happened today, was completely within the province of the authority of NEC to cede its powers to the NWC. And they did that. They were very specific. And matter of fact, the motion that was adopted provided for a specific period of 90 days. So this is not an indefinite period of time. It's for a period of 90 days that the NWC will exercise those powers that were granted to them.
So which are the specific powers that are ceded?
If you will, I can take you through.
Go ahead, please.
Some of them, yes. Now, one is that NEC devolved its powers under Article 13(3) of the APC Constitution to discharge all functions of NEC as constituted between conventions. So basically, that's like the omnibus power.
And then it's open-ended.
Yes. No, not open-ended.
It's open-ended.
It's not. It says, the powers of NEC as constituted between conventions may now be exercised by NWC. It's not open-ended. The power of NEC itself is not open-ended. The Constitution specifies the authority of NEC. So when that power is devolved to another body, like the NWC, it will never go outside of the authority granted by the Constitution to NEC to do anything at all.
Okay. So what are the other powers that have been ceded?
The other one is under Article 13(3)(4) of the Constitution, which gives the power to consider reports from national, state, local government areas or area council chapters of the party and take such decisions as are necessary to protect advance and consolidate the gains and interest of the party.
Okay.
And then we have Articles 1335 of the Constitution to exercise control and take disciplinary actions on all organs, officers, and members of the party, and determine appeals brought before it by any member or organ of the party. So you were right that to the extent that some of the authority, even with regards to the discipline of members of the party, may be exercised by the NWC, because during the primaries, it's probably the most sensitive and the most engaging period of any political party.
Absolutely.
Because that's when the internal democratic processes are put to the strictest tests.
Absolutely. So that's what I mean.
And somebody has to have the authority to govern the party. So NEC is merely empowering the NWC to govern the party and to ensure that all of its due process requirements during this very important period are met.
Okay. So clearly, because Governor Bagudu after the meeting was talking about the fact that I think that was where the confusion came from, that the indirect primary mode has been adopted. But you are clearly telling us that has not been decided.
That was not decided today.
Have you decided on the zoning too?
No, that also was not in conversation today.
When will you decide on zoning?
In the coming days, I'm sure the party will make that decision. Now that the NWC has its fullest authority to decide on some of those questions. Of course, in consultation with the stakeholders and the leaders of the party as well.
There was a very funny question someone was asking, whether or not APC is the party that is established, that is operating in Nigeria, when the cost of your nomination forms came to the public of 100 million for nomination forms, 70 million for the nomination form and expression of interest form for 30 million. People were wondering, is the APC aware of the present economic situation in the country? And that was why someone was sarcastically asking whether APC operates in Nigeria or not. What are your considerations for those who think that this is exorbitant? Is there any reason behind
for those who aspire to the highest office in the land? Yes, I guess that argument is, people may ask the question, and they may have legitimate questions, around that. But don't forget that at the same time, some of the most special groups of citizens were granted high consideration, either in delivering nomination forms to them for free, as in the case of women, and people living with disability. But youth who are between ages 25 to 40 also were granted 50% discount on those ones for all positions, not just for House of Assembly, for even anyone who is 25 to 30 or to 40 who is running for the office of president will receive that nomination form you talk about at 50% discount. So they will pay the expression of interest plus 50% of 70 million.
We're talking about the value you've placed on it, and whether or not where did you get the idea from? Who advised the party on the price tax?
Who advised the party?
Yes,
the party advised the party
on the price tax.
Correct.
Is it consistent with the present situation of things in the country?
What is the present situation in the country?
The economic situation.
We still live in a country.
With 100 million naira,
yes,
you will buy a duplex here in Abuja, and you will furnish it and live in it.
No, that is true, but don't forget, we also live in a country where people live, very opulent lifestyles who make legitimate money.
Is your party for the rich?
Okay, it's not for the rich. I just told you that any woman, for instance, who intends to run for the office of president is not paying the full amount we're discussing.
No, but we're talking about the value.
The youth as well.
A discount is a consideration. Now,
it's a consideration.
But the value that you place on it tells, gives us an impression of the intention and intent of the drafters of the principles behind the cost. And so one would be wondering why the party will put 100 million price tag on the cost of forms and at a situation like this in the country.
Look,
is there a realization that
I am
economically things are not very good?
Yes. Things are not perfect. Things are not perfect economically. They're not perfect anywhere, right? Where are they perfect? I mean, do you have an idea of a country where the economic situation is actually perfect? Is it the United States?
Well,
or is it the UK?
Shouldn't we
where
be
people
make,
have no,
shouldn't we be making decisions that reflect our situation?
No, we should. We should. And
does your party think that this is exorbitant?
The party thinks that, and made a decision that the value put on these forms are justified.
Okay, all right. So let's go into another aspect which the national chairman raised. He was the chairman of the Reconciliation Committee, and he said ego is at the heart of the problems of the crisis that the party is presently facing. And if you realize the problem, then how is the party resolving it? Because you're going into primaries that will further divide the party. Election divides people, because people then hold their beliefs and they pitch their tent. So how are you resolving those issues? Because the man who chaired the reconciliation is not the national chairman.
Correct. Don't forget that these same concerns were expressed loudly, almost to unbearable decibels before the convention, right? About the specter of a meltdown at the convention. Yes, we have issues and challenges with, bringing people and, keeping everyone together like we have everywhere. And we're working hard at it. This chairman has, even in that same speech today, expressed his determination and the determination of the NWC and the NEC and the leadership of the party to grapple with that. So everyone is conscious of the need to keep the party together and to maintain unity. We came out of the convention, better than anyone had forecasted. We will come out of our primaries even stronger to compete in the general election. We're working hard at it. I'm not taking that for granted. Every party man, party woman, party youth, all of us, at least the majority of us, recognize that this party has to be greater than anyone's personal interest or aspiration. While we will afford everyone the fullness of opportunity to express themselves and to compete, we will also be working hard to ensure that the common good of the party is not completely submerged, again on the altar of personal pursuits of aspirations.
On the final note, just in 30 seconds, if you may respond, there are talks about some very big heavyweights in your party leaving a party for the fear of the consensus and imposition of candidate. Is that also raised at a NEC meeting? And how are you rallying around to see that these people do not leave your party? Already, Zamfara, some people are planning to leave.
Well, they have not left, right? They've not left.
But they said
the discussions are going.
Yeah.
This is an ongoing thing. People are talking. Yes, people always will, and have a freedom to express themselves and to, make their choices and preferences. But the party is not asleep. The party leadership is also engaging vigorously. As a matter of fact, even in Zamfara, there were some, headlines that this had happened, but the individuals concerned, retracted. Conversations are going. These are party men and women who also care deeply about the party. So we hope that these decisions to leave, assuming they make them, are not made lightly, but are made with full consciousness that even where they're headed, it's not free from some of these tensions that they may be walking away from. And I think we encourage them to stay and work it out. And that's what this leadership is determined to do. In the coming days, in the coming weeks, before primaries, you will see even an uptake of engagement by the leadership. You mentioned the chairman was the chairman of that committee, the Reconciliation Committee. So you can imagine that he knows some of the key actors in this discussion, and is not going to spare any effort to ensure that they all come back into the fold and stay in the fold.
All right. I need to go now. But this needs to be pretty fast. Are you considering automatic tickets for your governor seeking second term?
that has not been discussed. And
Okay, all right.
I don't see, yeah, we haven't discussed that. And I don't imagine that that's going to be the case anyways, yeah.
Felix Morka is the National Publicity Secretary of the APC. Thank you so much for your debut on Politics Today.
That's right.
And I wish you the very best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
It's going to be a very tough, busy period of time for you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Well, that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye for now.